Time to test just how scared Pomni can get. Hello everyone, welcome to Prince the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 3 of the amazing digital circus, The Ghost of Mildenhall Manor. And we knew this was coming. We knew there was a spooky episode coming, and we had like a few weeks, I think, notice that this was going to be coming today. And I'm very excited. I'm excited for more of this. I can't wait. And Halloween themed episode just sounds like a fun time with this. Last episode we had the Candy Kingdom, we had the fudge, we had our boy Gummy Goo, rest in peace, King. It was a really fun episode, a really great second episode to get things going. Not a huge amount of lore, but there was a lot of existentialism, which, lovely. Thank you for that. But it was good. It was really good, and I enjoyed it. And so now, like I said, we're getting into this. This is horror themed. I don't know what's going to happen. I believe there are ghosts, because in the initial trailer that we got, I believe there were ghosts in that. At least one. I don't remember too much about like what they looked like or anything, but I'm hoping any new characters we get are just as likable as Gummy Goo. Just give me all of the likable characters. I'm game for everything. So yeah. As of recording this is actually still in its premiere minutes, so we're going to get on with this and see what this episode of the Amazing Digital Circus has in store. Cutting in here real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. We also have gaming content every day of the week over on the Princess of Gaming channel. We have Horizon Forbidden West every other day, Baldur's Gate 3 every day. Every Wednesday and Sunday, we have Beyond Two Souls, and we have Poppy Playtime on Saturdays. Don't forget to click the link in the description below to get to today's video. I redirect everything due to copyright. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video for more awesome content like this in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get to today's reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, it was like 31 minutes, I think, for the final recording for that, for a video that's just under 25 minutes long, so like 6 minutes worth of extra content because of all the freezing and lagging, and I hate it. I really apologize. Let me explain something real quick before we get into actually talking about the episode. I mentioned something in the reaction that I want to kind of like go over and talk about and give more explanation for. I mentioned in the reaction that like this is kind of why I hate premieres, and that might be confusing for some people, so let me explain. The premiere function on YouTube, you may have noticed, is something I don't tend to use. When I put up a reaction, I just put it up. I don't premiere it. And the reason for that is because I don't like the function. I don't like the concept of it. What a premiere basically is a live stream for recorded content. It's basically you're taking pre-recorded content, you're uploading it, and then you're live streaming that recorded content being uploaded. You're able to communicate in the chat with your viewers, and it allows you to, I guess, allows creators to discuss what's going on or see how people react live rather than through comments. The only thing is, why? What is the point of this? Like, what is the point of doing this rather than just having comments, like viewers leaving comments and you responding to comments? Because if you're a big enough channel, you're not going to be able to read all these messages as they're coming in. The chat's going to be scrolling way too fast for you to catch anything. If you're a smaller channel who won't get like a lot of people coming in and watching the premiere, it's like, what does it actually do for you? It's not going to help you in any way. It's no different than if you just let them say things in the comments and you respond to them there. It doesn't do anything that further helps the channel. It doesn't do anything to connect with an audience more. There's really no natural benefits to it. I can't see any reason for its existence. And the problem I have with it is that it sets this certain expectation amongst viewers that you have to tune in at a certain point, preempting anything else you may want or need to do in order to interact with the creator. Because the creator's like, oh, I'm going to set this to premiere. I'll be in the chat and everything. You can interact with me there. I'm not going to answer your comments or anything. I'm just going to do this. This is my way of responding to you and interacting with you. That's how I'm going to respond to people in this video. And it sets this expectation. And a lot of people will set these premieres days and all ahead of time. So it's like you're also sitting there. It's like knowing exactly when it's going to come. And you're also having to wait. And it's like, I see no positives here. It's an it sets forth this unenjoyable experience that just leaves it hard to get behind. And I mean, yeah, you don't have to tune in right when it airs. You can still wait till later and watch it at any time if you're not able to tune in at that time for whatever reason. It's not like you have to do that. But then it's like if you leave a comment at that point, it's like there's less likelihood that they're going to respond to it because they'll have moved on to the next thing. They use their time that they would spend like replying to comments and all just in the chat. That's what they did instead. And it's just like, maybe I'm speaking from bad experiences with this, and maybe it's because of my autism. I don't fucking know. A lot of people probably don't have a problem with this. It's probably just me. But I actively dislike it. When I go to my subscribe feed to see all the videos that are up for my for the channels I subscribe to, I hate seeing videos that's like, oh, this video is premiering tomorrow at this time. I hate seeing that because it's like it just irritates the shit out of me. I don't know how else to put it. And it makes it worse when it's something that I'm actively reacting to like this. Because of situations as we saw in the video. Because it's like, oh, this is premiering at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, because I'm in the Eastern Time Zone, just to specify here. It's premiering at 6 p.m. my time on a Friday. I know it's going to be premiering at that date and time. That makes it so that I have to make sure I get to it pretty much right away as it's still premiering. If I didn't know it was going to be coming at that time, like, I wouldn't have the stress of having to sort out the entire rest of my day to fit with that. I have had to, like, set up when I was going to do pretty much everything before I recorded this, just to be ready for this. Just so I could get to this pretty much right as it aired. Right as it premiered. And doing so caused all these issues. I had to reload the page multiple times because it kept lagging and freezing. And that didn't even help. It didn't help anything because the premiere was still going as I was watching. And like the 2 or 3 times I reloaded the page, the premiere was still going. By the end, I basically just had to live with it until whenever it actually finished. If I hadn't known when it was going to come, I would have been surprised when I saw it appear on my feed. And I would have been like, oh, can I still get to this? No, then I'll wait till tomorrow, or I'll wait till Monday, whenever I next get the chance to record. And that would have left me a lot less stressed and would have allowed the reaction to be better quality, honestly. This has made me feel like I'm letting you down. With the quality of that reaction, with the quality of how the video was being handled there. And even if you guys say it's okay, and you guys probably would, it's an internal thing with me. Understand that when I say like I feel like I'm letting you down, it's something I can't help. And you just trying to assure me that I'm not doesn't help, because I'm autistic and my mind is like hates me. Like if my mind is telling me that someone hates me, that person reassuring me that they doesn't actually help. Because my mind is telling me otherwise, and my mind is, controlling my thoughts. It fucks with me, and it's terrible. It's one of the worst parts of living with autism. It's one of the worst symptoms I have, and it leads to a lot of pain. So it's like when stuff like this happens, where I'm sitting here and I'm having to react to this live just because of the time it comes out, and because I know it's coming out at that time, it's like, with all the lag and everything else that is happening, my mind, again, it fucks with me and tells me that I'm letting you all down, and that sends me into a spiral. Talking about it can help, but I'm just telling you now, after I'm done with this, I'm going to need to like either eat away my feelings or do something else to help, because I'm not in a good place after that, mentally and emotionally. Just letting you know. I mean, by the time you're watching this, by the time I get this up, I'll probably be okay. At least I'll be better. But as of when I'm recording this, it's left me in a really bad state of mind. I'm really upset. Not at you guys. Not even at Glitch. I'm not angry at Glitch Productions or Gooseworks or anyone who made this. I'm more angry at just the concept of premieres at the moment, and partially myself and things like that. So I'm sorry for taking over 10 minutes to discuss this. I know that's not what you're here for. I might separate this out into a different segment via the chapters on the progress bar, just so you can skip it, or by this point you already would have, if you wanted to, but I needed to get this out because, like I said, it does help to talk about it, at least a little, and I needed to vent. With how I've been feeling after that reaction, I really needed to vent. That being said, let's actually talk about the episode. This episode was fucking phenomenal. Like, I'm not using that term lightly. I want to make it very clear how fucking amazing I thought this episode was. How far above the other two episodes prior to this. I think this was. And there's multiple reasons as to why, but like on a scale of 1 to 100, and with having loved the first two episodes, like if this episode is a clear 100, just as a scale reference. Obviously, this is not an accurate depiction of my specific feelings towards the episodes, but just as a specific scale reference to show how far apart they are. If this is a 100, then episodes 1 and 2, and I would say I think I liked episode 1 a little bit more than episode 2, or maybe they're about the same for me. They're very close for me. I really liked both. I'll pair them kind of just together to make this point. If episode 3 is 100, then episodes 1 and 2 would, no joke, be a 1. I'm not fucking kidding you right now. That is how much better I think this episode is. And again, I loved episodes 1 and 2. The pilot, the first episode of this, was one of the best animated pilots I think I've seen on YouTube. Like, it's up there with Has Been Hotel. In fact, I think it's actually maybe better. Like, Has Been Hotel, I think I overall prefer more, but I think Amazing Digital Circus's pilot is technically better. And the second episode, like I said, at least just as good. Like, I think I like them probably just right around the same. It's very different, obviously, because with the first one focusing on Pomni arriving and kind of introducing everyone, the second episode focused on this adventure with the Candy Kingdom and Gummy Goo, and you guys know I fucking loved Gummy Goo. Like, I adored that fucking Gummy Goo. Like, yeah. And the episode in general, even in spite of all the existential stuff, which I've made very clear at this point, I really, really get freaked out by existentialism. Even in spite of that, like, I really love that too, because I love the aesthetic, I love the style, I love the designs, I love the concepts of it. It was so good. It was chock full of references and inspirations. This episode is so drastically better. It almost feels like a different show. Like, that 100 to 1 scale. I'm not kidding you by that. That is how much better I think this episode is. Because this episode not only tickled one of my favorite itches. I know that sounds fucking weird, but hear me out. It not only tickled one of my favorite itches with animation, period, with having a horror-themed episode in a non-horror series, but the character development, the depth, the emotional moments, the animation, the voice acting, everything about this was like not just professional level quality, but high tier professional level quality. Like, this is genuinely one of the best things I've reacted to in a long time. And there's other things that I've reacted to lately that are, like, insanely good. But this is just that fucking good. So let's talk about the itch. Like, you understand what I'm saying when I say that, right? Like, it scratched a certain itch for me. You understand what that phrase means, right? I hope. Let me go into detail, though. Let me explain. Like I said, I love the trope when a non-horror show, and this is a non-horror show, absolutely is. There's horror elements, but it is not a horror show by any means. I love it when a non-horror show has an episode that is not just a horror episode, but is actively fucking terrifying. I've mentioned these examples before in the past, but these are probably the two best examples I can name off the top of my head. Abracadabra from the Powerpuff Girls and Jack in the Haunted House from Samurai Jack. Two critically acclaimed shows, and those are my favorite episodes of both of those shows, of each of those shows. Abracadabra gave me so many fucking nightmares as a kid. And I'm not just saying like, oh, I was a kid, I was scared of it. I've watched that as an adult, and it's fucking scary as hell. Like, there's moments in that episode where it almost implies that Blossom, I think specifically, is fucking murdered. The design of this zombie magician, literal zombie magician, is genuinely scary. The imagery it uses, the music it uses, and again, the implications are genuinely fucking frightening. Jack in the Haunted House, a show that's very action-oriented, very sci-fi, but not very horror, usually. Jack goes in this haunted house. The paranormal shit that goes on in this episode is fucking terrifying. But there's one shot specifically where like the ghosts in this house, like their like heads are like leaning back, and they're like, I think their eyes roll back in their head, and they start like drooling like this black goo or something like that. It's something along those lines. I haven't seen the episode in a long time, but it's something along those lines, and it is so fucking scary. It is like, holy shit scary. Stuff like that, like, is one of my favorite tropes, along with like the found family trope, is one of my favorite tropes in all of fiction, in all of media. So when a non-horror show has a episode that is focused on horror and is actually like really fucking scary, like, oh my god, did you see when Pomni got possessed there? Like, what the fuck, Glitch? What the fuck, Gooseworks? I might have nightmares about that. I am 32 years old, and I might have fucking nightmares about that. The creature is fucking horrifying. That's gonna traumatize me. Kids, do not let kids watch this show. I mean, that was clear from episode 1, because this is very clearly an adult-oriented animation. But oh my god, do not let a child watch this episode. Just don't let them do it. Like, this will fuck them up a lot more than Return the Slab will from Courage the Cowardly Dog. King Ramses' curse is nothing compared to this. Like, oh my god. But then it balances it out with the character work. Like, finding out why Zubul doesn't like going on these adventures because of self-hatred, and especially, like, hatred over her body, the way her body is in this world. Like, she literally has body dysmorphia. I'm a fucking non-binary trans woman. Do you understand how much that fucking speaks to me? Not to mention, I mean, Zubul uses they, them pronouns as well. Zubul's non-binary as well, so it's like, oh, thanks. You're gonna make me feel things that I was not prepared to feel today. Thank you for that. It's like, I'm over here, like, practically on the verge of crying for Zubul, a character who's honestly been my least favorite of the gang. So, well, okay, second least favorite after Jax. I can't deny how much I've hated Jax. I make no secret that I have not liked Jax. I like him as a character. And I've already acknowledged that he probably will grow and I'll probably love him by the end. But, like, in terms of, like, you're supposed to hate him because he's a piece of shit. Also, I love that they just ended up tying him up and he didn't really have much of a role in this episode. That's great. But yeah, it's like, they were probably outside of Jax, my least favorite of the gang. Because we haven't really gotten to know them. There was nothing to really attach me to them yet. But then you have this episode and I'm on the verge of fucking crying for them, and it's like, God damn it, now they're one of my favorites. And then you have the fucking Kinger scene, and it's like, oh my god. Like, oh my god. Like, if it weren't for the issues we were having with the video, I would have been bawling my absolute face off. The issues that we were having with the video was actually saving me from crying. I'm not kidding you. Like, and I mean crying hard. Because we knew about the Queen. We knew about the Queen. We saw that in the door in episode 1. There were all those doors. There were a bunch of them with, like, X's over them, implying that they've abstracted. And one of them was a dark brown queen piece. Like a queen chess piece. And people had very easily, obviously, put together that Kinger had a wife. And that she had to have abstracted. I mean, it's very obvious that there were others who would have been here and would have abstracted before Kaufmo. I mean, there would have had to be for them to know what abstraction is, right? So, and sorry it's gotten so dark. It's like late when I'm recording this, and that was just one of the reasons why I had to get to it when I did. But also, just sorry for the darkness. Can't do anything about it now. I'm not going to grab my ring light at this point. So we knew about her. And while we didn't technically find out a huge amount of info here, basically finding out about Kinger's last moments with his wife, the last chance he had to touch her, Jesus fuck. Like, even just talking about it, thinking about it right now, I'm on the verge of, like, really crying here. I'm having to really hold myself back. Holy shit. That is the saddest fucking thing. My god. And then the levity. Oh, great. I am crying. There is a tear fall. Yeah, okay. The levity it brings in when it just suddenly switches to what Gangle, Ragatha, and Jax have been doing, and seeing that they've been having just a delightful time with the lady of the house and everything, and talking about how her husband killed her and everything. It's like, it was such a relief to cut to that. Because it's like, with everything going on, it's like, I was like, and especially with the video happening, it's like that helped, like, soothe my emotions in so many ways. And yes, there was other humor in this too, such as, like, Pomni telling the dead guy to not get up, and he's like, okay, I won't. That was fucking hilarious. But it's like, that moment of levity cutting to the others was so needed. Amongst everything else. And it's just like, you're doing this to me, really? You're gonna fuck me up like this on a Friday evening out of nowhere? Like, I went into this expecting this to be, like, kind of spooky, a little goofy, a little fun. Nothing too, like, extravagant. Just, a fun, spooky jaunt in a ghost house. We'd get involved with some ghosts. Maybe have some slight legitimate scares. But nothing, like, insane. Most of the horror movies I watch can't compare to this. It's like I watch a lot of horror movies on this channel and everything, and I've just watched a lot in my life. This is scarier than the vast majority of them. Actually terrifying shit. Imagery that's genuinely fucking terrifying. And it's just like, and then on top of it, you have like hints at stuff with Kane, with Zubul almost breaking him to the point where it almost like fucks up the entire digital world. And it's like, oh Jesus, what does that mean? What are you hinting at, Gooseworks? What are you building towards with that? Please don't. That's obviously a hint at things to come. I am stressed. I think that's the best way to put it after this entire episode, and again, the issues we were having with it. I am just excessively stressed. I am excessively emotional in a multitude of ways. I am freaked out. I am a little angry. I am annoyed. I'm sad. I am every emotion at once. And it's just like, again, I was not prepared for this. But, I mean, I'm not disappointed by any means. Like like I said, this is one of the best things I've reacted to in quite a while. I wouldn't say it's the best, because one, I would have to think about that. Two, I acknowledge that these thoughts are my initial gut response after having just seen it once. And my opinion on it may and possibly will at least adjust after seeing it more times and having more time to think about it. So I'm not going to like say it's like absolutely 100% the best thing I've reacted to in a while. But it's definitely up there. Like, even once my opinion cools down and everything, it's like, I'm still gonna love it, clearly. It is 100% my shit. Like, this is entirely my kind of episode. And the thing is, it goes kind of without saying, but going with what I was talking about before about like a horror episode in a non-horror series, this would not have worked as well if the entire series was horror. Like, this kind of thing would not have worked as well in Courage the Cowardly Dog, for example, because Courage the Cowardly Dog is a horror series. Horror comedy, yes, but it's still horror. That's a main theme of the entire show. With this, it works because that's not. There's only elements of horror in the other episodes. But it's more of a dramatic, comedic adventure, if anything. More comedic than dramatic, obviously. More of a comedic adventure, I guess, is just you could go with. So it's like very different experience and just drastically better. Yeah, this is definitely up there for me in things I've reacted to this year. Um, I don't know exactly where it places, but that's that kind of thing will be determined by multiple rewatches. Because I will be watching this with other people's reactions and just on my own time with my sister and stuff. So yeah. Um, Thanks for tuning in. Sorry for the issues and sorry for the darkness. Now it's gotten really dark, like Jesus. It's 7:15 right now as of recording this, and it's like, ooh, spooky, it's gotten so dark. The camera's trying to adjust the best it can, but it can only do so much. Um so sorry about the lighting, sorry about how dark it is. I normally wouldn't want the redirect or anything to do this, but Yeah, there's just not really much I could do because it wasn't this bad at the start of the afterthoughts. It became this bad because of just time passing and everything. And because of I wouldn't normally be recording at this time anyway, so I've talked about that. But tell me your thoughts down below. Tell me how much you did or did not love this episode comparative to me. Did it scare you? Did it pull at your heartstrings? Did it just fuck you up? Like, let me know your thoughts. And thank you as always so much for tuning in. But again, I apologize for the issues and everything. Hopefully we won't have to deal with this next time or for any other reactions in between. That being said, again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Connie. I'm signing off. See y'all next time.